Lydia Martin, your host for On St Lucie. It's back to school time, and one of the topics we get lots of questions about is our school lunch program. So welcome, everyone. On St Lucie provides an opportunity for insight into programs and policies here in the district. So for our viewers at home, I'd like to welcome our guest today, Deborah Wuest, the Director of Child Nutrition Services. So Ms. Wuest, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your role here in the district?
Thank you for having me. I oversee the Child Nutrition Services program, which basically runs the school meals program. So we are in charge of making sure that breakfast, lunch, supper, snacks are offered to all the students in St. Lucie Public Schools.
Wonderful. And I know something that the viewers might actually find pretty impressive is that really the Child Nutrition Services Department is the largest restaurant in St. Lucie County.
Yes, we serve 46 programs throughout St. Lucie County, and if you think about it, we serve around 30,000 meals every single day, and that's just with breakfast and lunch.
Yeah,
so it's a huge number with such a limited time period to serve.
Yeah, there is no restaurant that comes even close to that on a daily basis. Well, why don't you start telling us a little bit about the National School Lunch Program?
Great, wonderful question. The National School Lunch Program is regulated by Congress, and basically what it is the meals are offered through Congress and approved by Congress, and it's USDA, and the meals have to be approved. And so since the pandemic, back in 2020, the school meals program families have seen that meals are at no cost. And however, now we're implementing the National School Lunch Program back again. So we're going to see some changes of what used to be, and we're kind of going back to normal processes with the school meals program. Okay. So it's very important to understand that since 2020, we've been receiving free meals, but however, Congress has not extended those waivers that families have enjoyed for the past couple of years. Now students will have to be approved for free and reduced price meals in order to receive a benefit.
Okay, so the last few years during the pandemic, parents have not had to pay for school breakfast or lunch. And
Correct.
This was due to the funding from the federal government.
Exactly.
That funding has gone away because we're now on the other side of the pandemic.
Exactly.
And so now we're reverting back to kind of the old style, the old way that we were doing the school lunch program, and that students now, even though in the last few years maybe they got a free lunch, now they need to apply in order to get that meal benefit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's very important that families complete that meal application prior to school starting, because if they had not completed an application last year, their meal status will roll over to whatever status they were last year. So if you never filled out an application last year because your child was receiving free meals automatically, it's vital that you complete that meal application prior to school starts, because you will start to have to pay for that meal starting day one. So it's really important to get that meal application completed. And I really kind of wanted to talk about the benefits of the meal application. You get approved for free or reduced price meals if you qualify. High school students, they get a benefit with SAT testing. They get discounts or free. I think it's free.
They get waivers?
They get waivers, okay. Exactly. You can receive cable and phone discounts, and it increases funding for schools. So it's so important that families complete that meal application, because then we in St. Lucie Public Schools can provide more services to the students at many of our schools based on our free and reduced percentages. And it's really important to do this now rather than waiting until school starts, because then that way it's one of the many pieces of paperwork that is required to complete, but you can get it completed before your child even starts the first day of school. The application is online.
Okay.
If you go to our main webpage at www.stlucieschools.org,
Okay.
you will see on the screen you have a picture of what it looks like. There's a button that's called School Benefit App or School Benefit Application.
Okay.
That is the school meals application. So make sure to click that button, and it takes you right to the online application. It begins to ask you questions. You do have to enter in confidential financial information. However, that is all kept confidential, so there's no need to worry if this meal application is going to be shown to other people. It's highly confidential, and then we process it within 10 days.
Okay.
So it's really important to get that done.
Absolutely. So even if somebody maybe didn't get approved for a free or reduced lunch benefit in the past, we still encourage them to fill out the application because maybe their income has changed.
Exactly.
The guidelines from the federal government change all the time. So even if they weren't approved in the past, we still want to make sure everybody completes that.
Absolutely, and you can apply anytime throughout the year. So if your income does change throughout the year, and historically maybe you did not qualify, you may qualify for that benefit because of a change in income. It's all based on the gross household income, and if one child is approved in the household, then all children are approved in the household. So it's really important, especially if you have multi-families living together. If they complete the application, then everybody in that household automatically is approved based on that household income and the number of people living in the household.
Great. And it sounds like even beyond the meal benefit, there's so many other reasons in order to complete that. And some of them are specific to students, but like you said, some of it is just general funding that we get from the federal government through other programs. So it's really important that everybody completes that application.
And especially if you have a student who is, or a child who is going into the 11th grade or 12th grade and is taking that SAT testing, why not get that fee waived if you qualify? So, and then also you can also be approved for some of the summer programs that are offered next year. If you're approved for this year, then next year you'll be able to be a part of if you have Boys and Girls Clubs or anything like that.
All right, wonderful. So we know the importance of completing the application, and you explained where we can find that application. If somebody needs assistance filling that out, who can they reach out to?
They can reach out to our office. We have actually a email address. It's called mealapplications@St Lucie Schools. If they fill out if they have questions about it, it's all on our website that answers the questions. And if you have specific questions, you can send that email to that email address, and we'll get back to you in 10 days. We also have a news blog on the front page of our website that kind of goes through the steps of completing the meal application.
Okay. So how are parents notified that their child was approved for free, reduced, or maybe didn't qualify this year?
We send them through the school messenger. Every student has an account that we automatically email that approval letter or whatever status that you end up being approved for. So it's done automatically through the email.
So the sooner the better.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, perfect, because we want to make sure our kids have those meal benefits starting on the first day.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how does a student, let's say they are on free or reduced lunch, how when they go through the lunch line, how would the ladies or the gentlemen in the cafeteria know that they qualify for that?
Great question. Each child, pre-K through 12, receives a 5-digit lunch number, or PIN number is what they call it. Many times they utilize this PIN number for library access, media access, to get onto the computer. So it's used for other programs. However, that 5-digit number is really important for them to learn prior to school, especially your kindergartners. Right. And the thing is that for the past 2.5 years, they haven't been using that PIN number. So they receive that when they enter into the school system, and they keep that same lunch number all the way through until they graduate. So if you remember your lunch number, great, but it's probably time to start learning that lunch number all over again, because every student will be required to enter in that PIN number for breakfast and for lunch. So we on the screen, I think it did show a picture of what the keypad looks like. Okay. And so once you learn that number, you're required, you go through the serving line. At the end of the serving line, there will be a child nutrition expert to help you, assist you entering that number. And then they have to confirm to make sure that you have all the required components on that tray. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Okay, perfect. So let's move right to the good stuff, which is delicious food.
Yes.
So breakfast, tell us what is happening with breakfast this year.
Okay, so with the breakfast program, there are 4 items that are offered. There's a variety of choices. Let me start off with that. We have fresh baked products for breakfast. We have cereals, we have eggs, whole grain toasts and rolls. The important thing is that we're required to offer a specific amount of items, such as your proteins, your fruits, your vegetables, and your milk for dairy. However, the students, in order for us to be able to claim that meal, they have to take at least 3 of those 4 items. So it's really important for parents to remind their child that you have to take a fruit or vegetable at breakfast and at lunch. So make those choices. So you can take whatever combination you want, but one of them does have to be a fruit or a vegetable.
Okay. And is it true that breakfast is free for all students again this year?
Yes, yes. So that is one benefit for this year is that we were able to fund the breakfast program here in St. Lucie Public Schools. So not all school districts will allow free breakfast. So that's one of the benefits that we think is really important for a child to start off the day, because when the child has received a good, healthy breakfast, then they're ready to learn. They're ready to make that connection. And studies show that children who eat breakfast prior to learning, their attendance rate is not as, they do a high attendance rate, their absenteeism is down, and they have improved grades because it fuels the mind, ready for learning.
And the schools do provide time for the students to get their breakfast, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And students who ride the bus, they are there in plenty of time for the children to receive a breakfast as well. So it's breakfast for all students.
Perfect. So we want our parents to encourage their student to go through the breakfast line and get something for the day.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So let's talk about lunch. Any changes with lunch, or tell us what parents need to know about the lunch service?
As with the breakfast program, lunch menus are regulated by the government, and the meals are approved and based on the dietary guidelines. So rest assured that any meal that is offered through the child nutrition program is approved by USDA and has all the nutrients that are required for a child to grow and have the correct amount of calories. So, but as breakfast, you have a certain amount of items. At lunch, we have components. There's going to be a huge variety of selections. We still have, the regular chicken sandwiches and pizza. It was interesting the other day, we make many posts through Facebook, and one of the parents had asked about, great, we're making some homemade baked products. However, what are we doing with the food? So, it's important so that families know that in our kitchens, we have cooks, we have bakers, and they are all highly trained. We make 90% of our food items are from scratch.
Wow.
So the items that the children see, someone who has been trained has prepared that meal. Fresh baked chicken, spaghetti made from scratch. The sauces are actually, it's not just cutting, opening a bag and adding some things. We actually make the sauces ourselves. And the pizzas are made from scratch. So that was the one thing, the parents are asking, are they getting frozen pizza? Well, actually, no, we make them from scratch. So, but to talk about the items that the students are required to take when they go through the lunch line, just as in breakfast, they have to take a fruit or a vegetable. At lunch, they have to take a fruit or a vegetable as they go through. They have to take 3 out of 5 components. They can take all 5 components, which would be your meat or meat alternate, because we do have many vegetarians throughout and vegan students, so we make those offerings to them as well. Then you have a fruit, a vegetable, whole grain, and milk. You're going to always see a hot vegetable and a fresh cold vegetable. We have garden salads every single day. We might have carrot sticks. One of the things is that we offer a variety throughout the week, because that's what USDA says, is that you have to have a well-balanced across the week.
So we know that breakfast is free for all students. Tell us about the lunch prices this year.
Unfortunately, because of those waivers ending, we do have to go back to pricing our meals based on however you qualify. If you qualify for a small benefit, that would be considered a reduced price meal. That price is still the same as it always has been, which is 40 cents.
Okay.
So, and breakfast is free. So families need to know how to calculate how much money they may need per week per child. For full paid for K through 5, the meals will be $2.25, and for high schools it will be $2.50. But the important thing is to know is that while we have to bring back pricing, these prices are the same prices that we had back in 2019.
Right.
So we haven't raised our meal prices.
And we know with inflation today, they could be a lot higher. And I mean, quite frankly, I don't know that a parent could even pack a lunch for $2.25. That would be really difficult to do.
Yeah,
so,
and with all the choices that they get and the amount of food that they get, oh my goodness.
And then you also have a la carte items at some places, at some of the schools, right?
Yes, all of our a la carte items offered in all of our schools are Smart Snack approved. So people, many of the families are like, well, what kind of a la carte items? All of our chips are whole grain. The ice cream is low in sugar.
Okay.
Our cereals are low in sugar. So it's important to understand even the baked products that we make. Our cookies are made from scratch. We use whole grain in our cookies.
And
we
they're
use
still so
applesauce.
good.
We use applesauce in our cookies, and the students love them. And so know that even it's okay for a child to have some a la carte. But the one thing is let's focus on getting a wholesome meal first.
Sure.
And then you can enjoy a snack, because we want students to have that meal prior to purchasing any a la carte.
Right. If a student brings a lunch from home, but maybe wants to purchase, say, a cookie or an ice cream, they are able to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Still have to enter in that lunch number, though.
Yes, so everybody
needs to learn that lunch number.
Wonderful. So I know, one of the challenges that everyone has faced in many different arenas is supply chain challenges. So how has that impacted the school district and the child nutrition
It's
department?
interesting that you should say that, because everybody does see the challenges out in the supermarkets that, you go down and you might not see your favorite cereal, or they might be out of certain products that your children love. Rest assured that the school meals program is having those struggles as well. So while our menus are planned months and months in advance, and we submit them to our manufacturers and to our vendors. And the thing is that it's a chain effect. If the vendor doesn't get their product, then they can't produce the products that we have planned on our menu. So the challenges are there. But as I mentioned before, is that, the good thing here in St. Lucie is that we've always taken pride in making our meals from scratch. So we have more availability coming into our district than other districts. So that's why I value that making, number one, the menu items are high quality and they're fresher. So this is the freshest meal that your child will receive. So we do have those challenges. Students will maybe see some substitutes, but it's all based on supply and demand and the challenges that we're having. So the menu is posted on the St. Lucie website under the parent-student tab. There's a blue column on the left-hand side, and there it'll say student meals or student lunches. You click that little link there and it'll take you right to the website that posts all of our menus. And with that, you can select your school. Because each school, while it is a district-wide menu, each school has their menus, and parents can review that menu with their children, especially the younger ones. The pre-K through 5th grade, it's really important to review those menus with them. And they get to see the different types of calorie intakes and the fat and all the different ingredients that are in our items.
What about special dietary needs?
Well, and that's one of the reasons why, learning about the menu and seeing the different dietary breakdown that each of our menu items have. We have many students that are diabetic throughout the school district. However, students that do have dietary needs, a meal modification form must be completed annually. And they can receive that through the school nurse. But it should be completed every single year because we want to make sure that we know when a child comes through the serving line if they can't have something based on an allergy. Many students have peanut allergies. If there's a diabetic, then we know if we need to offer certain items or if they're not allowed to have certain items. So we have many students with many different types of special needs or dietary needs. So it's important to complete that meal application. Not the meal application, I apologize. The meal modification form. So get that done as soon as you go to the school. And if you know that your child has dietary needs, get with the nurse and complete that meal modification form, because then they'll communicate that with us. And it has to be signed by a licensed physician or a dietitian. Many students and families younger kids may have intolerances. However, an intolerance isn't considered a life-threatening event, whereas if you're allergic to peanuts, you could go, have into shock. And so one thing is many students have milk intolerances. However, USDA says we can't provide you an alternate based on an intolerance. So it's really important to make sure to complete that meal modification form and have it signed by the doctor. Then we can make those modifications based on the specific needs of the child.
And that's probably something a parent can do during open house at their child's school. As well as fill out a meal benefit application.
Absolutely.
So it's better to do it now, but if they don't have an opportunity, they can do it at their child's open house. And how would, if a student that has a special dietary need and they go through the lunch line, how is that managed? How do the cafeteria staff know that that student has a flag?
As I mentioned, the cafeteria manager gets with the nurse on site, and we do have a registered dietitian here at the district office that works with each of the schools and the meal modification form and the specific needs that child may have. So we document that. We make sure that as the student puts in their PIN number through the serving line, make sure they know that. So then that way it comes up as a flash.
Okay.
You know, can't have peanut butter. While our elementary and K-8 schools are peanut-free kitchens, however, high schools aren't.
Right.
So it's really important to make sure that whatever type of allergy that the child has, it's noted in the child's profile.
Okay, that's good for parents to know. Maybe that little extra check as the student's leaving the lunch line. So let's talk about student wellness. I know you guys, beyond you know, just the actual food, there's a lot that you do with overall wellness.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Many people believe that we're just school meals, and we are so much more than school meals. We're all about the student wellness, and we make connections to the classroom. There are learning labs that we're working on. We do food tastings, and that's a great opportunity for students to find out things that they like. So we do that. We can do reading and writing and math activities. We can have kitchen tours where, you know, the children can come in and learn about measurements. There's a lot of math involved with preparing school meals.
Recipes.
So, and then also we work within the community. We work with IFAS, which is a partner stakeholder within our programs that does a lot of nutrition education in many of our schools. We work with the Department of Health, and we talk a lot about food safety and the importance of food safety, and parents need to know about that. So one of the big things that we really work on in the kitchens is farm to school. So many families don't understand that through the months of October through May, many of our fresh produce is farm to school, which means it's been locally grown.
Wonderful.
And it's been harvested and on the serving line within 48 hours. So there's that, and we have hydroponics in our high schools. And then, you know, then there's the child nutrition program. So we do school meals. We're offering culinary classes to the high school students.
Wonderful.
And it's all about connecting that with the family and exposing the family to proper nutrition. So it's not more than, it's so much more than a school meal.
More.
So
it's amazing all that goes into providing our students those healthy meals. Tell us, because I know every year there's some exciting new menu items. So tell us about some of the new menu items students may see this year.
Well, we do a focus group, and we try to find out what menu items that students really want to enjoy. And a big new item is a lot of Caribbean type of meals. So we're incorporating some of those spices that students enjoy. So we have a Caribbean chicken with a pineapple rice that's coming on this year. We have different types of varieties of fruits and vegetables that students may not have been able to see before, but they're always changing. We're always offering new menu items. And the one thing that I will have to say is, as the students go through the serving line, they can choose how they want their meal. So for an example, say we have, it says Alfredo chicken and broccoli. You're gonna see the choices of, you can have pasta, you can have Alfredo sauce, you can have chicken, or you can have red sauce. So the child can choose what they want. They don't have to have it all, but they can choose. If they just want the chicken and not the pasta, that's okay.
Gotcha.
And they can build their own sandwiches now this year.
Wow.
So they get to select, you know, I know my daughter never ate the bun on the chicken sandwich, so if they don't want a bun with their sandwich, they can just take the chicken patty.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so there's a lot of new
exciting
changes.
New things. Wow. Well, I know we are out of time, probably over time a little bit, but thank you so much for joining us today. You've provided so much important information. Thank you
so much for having me, and if there are any questions, feel free to call our office.
Okay, wonderful. I'm Lydia Martin, and this is WLX TV. On behalf of the station's team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. That's all for the show, but I invite you to follow us, like us, and watch us on our social media outlets. And as always, keep your eye on St. Lucie.